morning and welcome to the Naples Money Managers News You Can Use. This is NMM. I'm going to invite Marcus Bickle to join us this morning. He's running the camera. Oh, he walked right in front of me.
Sorry.
Did you see that? How rude.
Good morning, everyone.
How rude.
Happy
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day,
I
Don.
see those little hearts on your
Yeah,
hair?
well, cherries, but it's the
Aw.
closest I could come.
That's so cute. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody out there. We want you to know we love you all very much, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And it's a kind of a nippy morning. It was in the 40s this morning.
Little cold for Florida,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you poor thing.
I know, we had to go out there and fix the sign, and Dennis and I were like, ugh.
Yeah, they were came in all shivers. But I thought it'd be timely today to talk about the possible war that, the Russian troops all on the border of Ukraine and what that means for you and your portfolios. Because when nobody likes war,
No.
and we don't like to see any of this happening because we're a loving country. We really are a loving country.
Absolutely.
But we want to find out how that's going to affect us and our portfolios and our future life. So I have some statistics, as always. I have some statistics. And Marcus, you probably have some thoughts on the war, not the war, I shouldn't call it the war yet, but the threat of war and the fact that it's happening right during the Olympics.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a little blurry-eyed because there was the Super Bowl and then the dancers and the bobsledders with one
Did you
girl.
stay up to watch that?
Yeah. So I'm a little, yeah, I love the bobsled because I've done it.
No, I know. I've seen the pictures.
Let me see, my husband and I, and Mana, if you're there, Mana Holtz and her Keith, we went down the Olympic bobsled track in Utah. And our driver was from Cool Runnings.
Yeah, the Jamaican bobsled team.
Pat Brown, right? But of course I was played by John Candy.
Yeah, famously played by John
And this
Candy.
guy was much smaller, and they said half that movie wasn't right, but he was our actual driver. And now look at the times they had going down the sled track, and you notice it's only one person. We did 81.5 miles an hour when we went down. It was awesome, and I won't make the face I made, but anyway, so I'm a little blurry-eyed. But give us your thoughts about what's going on over there.
Well, so a lot of the news you hear is not great news. You hear things like pretty much most major countries have evacuated their embassies,
Right.
Including Russia. So that's kind of a key one. They've evacuated their embassy out of Ukraine. Something that was particularly alarming for me was hearing that the international plane insurance agencies will no longer insure any plane flying through Ukrainian airspace.
I didn't know that.
So you take all of that kind of information, and it sounds like really, really bad news, but I think the CIA and the Department of Defense are kind of pursuing a particular strategy in this regard, where they're publicizing everything that's happening there.
Just good.
As a way to kind of discourage the Russians from whatever their plans may be, because it's really hard to do that when everyone's looking.
Yeah, it can't be very covert.
And I think, he really, really wanted this to kind of happen, and the world to ignore it, kind of like what happened with Crimea,
Right.
5 or 6 years ago,
Remember?
or Georgia even previously to that. So this isn't new for him, but I think now the world has kind of said, hey, that's enough. And I don't think he has the gumption to stand up to that. So I think hopefully the situation will be diffused. I think, spring is right around the corner for Europe. That means mud season. Even a modern army doesn't move in mud season. It's hard to move a tank through mud.
Well, I tell you, I would never have thought that.
The north defrosts.
Sure.
Snow melts.
Oh, it's a mess. We all know that if we've ever been up north.
Hard to move a 60-ton vehicle through that. So.
Sure enough. Well, he's an old KGB guy, and I don't know if normal common sense thoughts run through his head.
Yeah.
But I do think his posturing is very real, and he is really trying to get some power back. The fact that he said he wouldn't do anything during the Olympics, that's why I started talking about that.
Yes.
Because I meant to say that. And it looks like maybe he's not going to do any actual invasion during the Olympics, if at all. I mean, he's looking at tanks out there. I mean, people don't fight with tanks anymore.
It's weird. He's fighting a non-modern war. He does, obviously, the Russians still have tons of modern equipment, just like any modern first world nation. But, it's still to see a lot of that Cold War equipment is weird in some ways.
So I thought what I would do is, to help ease your minds, is go through history just a tiny bit, if I can, and I hope we won't be too long. But I have a chart that goes all the way back to 1925. And you look at all you can't see it, I'm sure, if you can. But you look at all of the different things that happened. Like in 1939, the green line, by the way, is the stock market. If you put $1 in 1925, so 1925 to 1935, you would have lost more than half your dollar, if not all of the dollar. But if you didn't take that dollar out and you left that dollar there, by the end of 2000, your dollar would have been worth $2,565.
$1.
$1.
Wow.
And so this is we talk about the value of time and how it reduces your risk so enormously. And of course, we all look at each other and go, now, well, I'm not as young as I used to be. I don't have that much time. So obviously your portfolio needs to be adjusted for that. But time is a wonderful healer for so many different things.
It's almost an absolute hedge against volatility.
I could guarantee a young person today, if they put their money in the riskiest stuff, if they left it there for 25, 35, 40 years, not only would they have their dollar back, which of course with inflation wouldn't be $1 if it was just $1, but they'd have so much more. But you have to have that kind of mindset. So if you look in 1939, when Hitler invaded Poland, 1941,
That'd be interesting.
Pearl Harbor, we have the Berlin Wall going up in 1961, the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. Looking at all these things on the chart to see what the total effect was on stocks. 1980, we had the hostage crisis and inflation. The worst recession in 40 years happened in the early 80s, I'll say, before 1985. The Soviet Union collapsed in 1991.
I do remember that.
1990, we had the Persian Gulf crisis. And the Berlin Wall comes down, and we had a mini crash in that 90s period.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, see, you can look at that while I'm going through. And then if you go up to 2017 and all the different things that happened, like 9/11 is on here. That happened. And what happened to the stocks then? And then we had oil prices at record levels. That dropped stocks almost more as a percentage than anything else did. And it kind of goes up to the North Korean defies world missile testing. I guess my point is, this is bad. Anybody invading any country is bad. I don't care. It's just bad. Nobody likes war. But ultimately, your portfolio, if it's a good, solid portfolio, is going to survive. It will survive.
Absolutely.
And are you worried the world will come to an end? You know what? Someday it probably will.
Wow.
But it's not now. And it's not tomorrow. It's probably not in your lifetime. And it won't be because of a war. It'll be because some other probably environmental type thing or some asteroid. I love sci-fi. So something like that is probably more likely.
Don't Look Up.
Yeah, don't move. That was an interesting movie. But with I don't know. Do you have any closing comments?
And I think what Don said is very right. We do live in interesting times, which isn't necessarily always a great thing. But when you look at from a historical standpoint, things tend to be okay.
Right. You just need to give it a little bit of time and do not get off the roller coaster in the middle of the ride.
Yeah, everything
that.
sucks when you're in the middle of it, but
it does. It does. It feels so awful. Everything feels awful. I mean, COVID feels awful. Lately, it seems like everything is awful. But
if you think about it, we never have to relive those days again. Every day is just another day gone. So things will get better. They absolutely will.
Right. So with that, we're going to say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. And remember, money matters, but most importantly, you matter. Make it a great week.
Thank you so much.